Paleo pitfall number 2, going low carb by accident.
So this is one of the things primarily for the active athletic crowd. You switch to a paleo diet and people tell you meat, vegetables, seafood, eggs, that kind of thing, and you end up putting your plate together and you eat some salad and some steak, some good dressing. You're making sure you're getting enough fat, because that's kind of the first thing that people realize. They were avoiding fat. But people forget about all of the sources of carbs that we can be eating and that we should be eating if we are active. This doesn't mean just kind of walking around. It doesn't mean light housework or even gardening. Things of that nature, activities like that, tend to really just burn fat. And that's great, right? We want to be burning fat. But the minute you go into glycogen demanding activities, so those things that are high intensity, even if it's for a very short duration, just getting up to that really high heart rate, for example, or when you put your body into fight or flight mode for those brief stints, right? So when we're very stressed, when cortisol levels are high, our body wants to burn more sugar. And that's okay. That's a natural response. But if it doesn't have any sugar to burn, if you're not eating enough carbohydrate, it's going to be very painful. You'll be getting headaches. You'll be weak in the gym. You may just be very fatigued. It'll feel like, this isn't working. Why isn't this working? I'm supposed to feel great and I feel like junk. That being said, a lot of people get that feeling just from getting off of grains and dairy, for example. They were really addicted to these foods, and even if they are eating some, quote-unquote paleo carb sources, they can feel some detox effects from not eating grains anymore. But chances are, if you look at how many carbs you were eating before, if you think you felt okay with that amount, look at how you can get that from paleo sources. And when I say that, I just mean real food sources. So things like plantains, yams, sweet potato, parsnips, butternut squash, cassava, and taro are really, really dense in carbs. You can probably find them at most grocery stores. Just ask. You don't just have to eat sweet potato. And we've got things like spaghetti squash is not really that dense in carbs per 100 grams. It's only 6 grams of carbs. So if you're doing spaghetti squash post-workout, you're really not doing it. It's really not enough carbohydrates. I also don't think that for people who are active and, in the gym, that a little bit of honey added to something like a sweet potato with butter or something like that, I don't think it's the worst thing. If you need more carbohydrate, you do what you need to do to get it. I'm not saying a quarter of a cup of honey on your sweet potato, but you put a little teaspoon of it. If you're replenishing carbohydrate, then that's fine. Some other folks that are going low carb by accident and really do need more carbohydrates, a lot of pregnant or even breastfeeding women, they're, saying their milk supply might be down or their energy is down. Again, we don't need you to be on a low carb paleo diet. Anyone who's very, very mentally stressed, what I said before about cortisol, when we are in that stress mode, we really are burning more sugar. So again, anybody who's very stressed, and this kind of comes back to, I think we've seen some information swirling around about people who may have thyroid issues, wondering if low carb may not be the best way for them to go. And really the issue with your thyroid is that if your body is stressed, the thyroid is really under a lot of pressure. And so again, it all really does come back to that whole stress thing. It just really means if you're eating more carbs because that feels good for you, look at the balance of what else you're doing. Sometimes you need to just rebalance what's happening on your plate.
That's all I've got for you guys today. Remember, I post new videos every week. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think of this video, or to share what you want to learn more about from me. I'll see you next week.
When cortisol levels are high, our body wants to burn more sugar. But if it doesn't have any sugar to burn, if you're not eating enough carbohydrate, it's going to be very painful. You'll be getting headaches. You'll be weak in the gym. It'll feel like, why isn't this working? I'm supposed to feel great and I feel like junk. Sometimes you need to just rebalance what's happening on your plate.